I spent a full day in November in New York City last year trying to find Salman painting I could go look at. I called up his gallery and scoured museum directories and only managed to find that one painting was on display, like in the whole city, at the Frick Madison. So I made my way over there on a Thursday, I think, when it was crazy rush hours. And normally, I'm the type of person that's always thinking about something, and it's impossible for me to meditate in the emptier mind kind of way. But I remember the moment that I stepped into that room and I saw Salman's luscious green panels featuring brown men hanging next to the Vermeers in the small room, and I lost all my thoughts. And having spent so many years in Paris earlier, seeing European masterpieces and depictions of European history at the Louvre, there was something endlessly tender about seeing a Pakistani man's painted dream in that same golden gilded space. And I felt like one of his figures, lanky and brown and awkward and always imported, constantly feeling like I'm in a dream, always feeling that way when I'm walking the Seine or in the Louvre, because when I do those things, it's so beautiful that it feels irreconcilable that Karachi exists at the same time, in the same world, where there's no lovely lit up river or simple safeties. And when I look at Tour's paintings, I ache out of that same awareness of irreconcilable beauties and realities. And I guess the complexities of diaspora and the human experience of memory and desire necessitates utopia and nostalgia. And for me and many others, I guess painting is one of the ways in which we can experience these. You told me last night that nostalgia and utopia are connected, but I feel like I don't completely understand. So utopia essentially mirrors nostalgia in the fact that it is fictitious, created from desire. So nostalgia can be seen as a utopic version of the past almost. Oh, I see. It's also interesting how desire is a common factor between them. Yeah, for sure. And also, speaking of desire, there's a really interesting concept of micro-utopias, which was coined by Professor John Wood. Everybody is uniquely situated in their geographies, in their race, religion, and all of their different pluralities. They would all have different desires. Therefore, the idea of a universal utopia is kind of utopic in itself, and everybody has their own slightly different, nuanced versions of their own personal utopia, and multiple utopias, depending on the multiple parts of their lives and on their multiple pluralities. For example, one of my micro-utopias is to be safe in public spaces in Karachi, which is something very specific. But then, there's so many other women in the city who have that same dream as me. So what's interesting about micro-utopias is that it makes utopia a communal space. And then it's also that, you would fit into other people's micro-utopias. For example, my mom might have certain utopias, but where I'm the ideal daughter, which I might not actually exhibit qualities that she wishes that I had in real life. The whole thing is about how people are connected through their desires. How do micro-utopias connect to painting though? So I believe that micro-utopias explain the empathetic power of creative media. Because as a creator, whatever you make is a result of your different experiences and your identity, and your desires are such a big part of that. You would resonate, an audience would resonate with a piece of art because the audience and the creator share those different micro-utopias. For example, there's one of Salman's paintings that I love called Four Friends. Salman often talks about how all of his work is about his identity as a queer man from Pakistan who's living in New York and gets to express himself freely in ways that he couldn't when he was in Pakistan. So anyways, it's an intimate New York City apartment where it expresses such a simple desire, which is of feeling safe and feeling a sense of belonging, even when you're so far away from home, and maybe even feeling more belonging than you did at home. So for me, I look at that painting and it moves something in me because I share similar desires as him. I also come from the same country, where maybe I haven't felt safe in certain spaces, and also when you move away as a diasporic member, I have a desire to have spaces where I can feel a sense of belonging and be able to experience my culture from a distance, which gives it that sense of safety. So in that way I can resonate with his painting because we share those micro-utopias. You're also an artist. How do nostalgia and utopia figure into your work, and does Salman inspire you? What I like about Salman's work is that he often talks about juxtaposing his memories. Like if you look at Four Friends, The sofa in that painting is very Pakistani, as well as the furniture. That's all stuff that I've seen at home. And also the people themselves are imported landscapes. And in my own work as well, I tend to juxtapose memories, because when you juxtapose places that seem irreconcilable, like those beauties and realities, that's when you create something that's so fantastical and something that's such an object of your desire that it's a construction of a utopia that comes from memory and nostalgia and emotions. In my own work, I draw from memories and all the different archives that I have of my life as a diasporic member, because I journal a lot, I take a lot of photos, a lot of videos. So I combine all of those together to form what I like to call emotional utopias. So the idea of an emotional utopia for me is very much linked to the utopia of forever. I think the best way to explain this would be using the way that they talk about time in Slaughterhouse-Five, because they talk about time as a landscape, and there's a quote that I would like to read for you. All moments, past, present, and future, have always existed and always will exist. Look at all the different moments just the way we can look at a stretch of the Rocky Mountains, for instance. It's just an illusion that we have here on Earth, that one moment follows another one, like beads on a string, and that once a moment is gone, it's gone forever. So for me, I try to envision emotions having the same omnipresence that moments do, as Monica explains. And the idea of an emotion existing at a certain point in time, always being a part of me in some way, and then juxtaposing all of these moments together that have had emotional value for me, is how I create an emotional utopia. And it gets a bit overwhelming sometimes when I'm sketching. At times it sometimes moves me to tears, because I feel like there's certain ways of archiving that really help you remember that moment and remember how you felt more than what actually happened in the moment, which is what utopia and nostalgia is all about. It's not about having a clear-cut technical memory of how things were, but it's more of desire, and it's more of how things felt, or how you wish things felt. And the title, the working title of my current body of work, is called Yours, Now and Forever, and it draws from this idea of forever being a utopia, and maybe not being a utopia. So this painting here is called My Eyes Are Watering Again in This Lahori Weather, and it's a constructed landscape, so whatever is in here didn't actually happen in real life. This is my living room in Karachi, and this is the kitchen that we have at home. And this bed was imported, so it's one of my friends' beds from their bedroom. And all of these people, obviously they weren't there at the moment. Only me and my friend Tessa here has actually been in this space. And this curtain is also constructed, as well as the light here, which is, you don't normally have flowers as lights. I have many warm memories of this kitchen, actually. I have memories of sitting there while my dad and my mom were cooking food. I have memories of making things for my friends in there, or maybe just sitting and doing my homework during high school, even painting there sometimes. All the actions taking place in this scene happen in very fleeting moments that were very happy. I think many times about how nice it would be to have all the people that I love in moments that I love them in the same space. And that's really what this painting is about.